be read. All right, we ready? Okay, we will call to order at 6:02 with the quorum present. Do we have anyone that's addressing us this morning or this evening? Okay. Are y'all okay if I go out of order to let the people that maybe need to go? All right, so we have Kitty Wirt, who would like to speak to us regarding item number 8A. So to be kind to your time, we're just going to jump to 8A. Oh, right after we swear people in. Give me just a second. Sorry about that, Kitty. Do we have the swearing papers? Oh, okay. Okay. Add you when it's time. Sounds great. But you told me you go by something that's not that, correct? Kyle. I was like, I knew it was something.
Do the oath and have our alternates here. If everyone doing the oath of office will just stand, I'll read it and then you can repeat after me. instead of having each person. Okay? So I'll start with the statement of appointed office. I, and you'll state your name, do solemnly swear or affirm that I have not directly or indirectly paid, offered, promised to pay, contributed, or promised to contribute any money or thing of value, or promised any public office or employment as a reward to secure my appointment or confirmation thereof, so help me God.
I, Dana Horak, do solemnly swear that not directly and indirectly paid, offered, promised to pay, contributed, or promised to contribute any money or thing of value, or promised any public office or employment, secure my appointment or confirmation thereof, so help me God.
Okay, perfect. So if you guys will sign these and hand them back in after, okay, we'll do the next page now. And this is the oath of office. So I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of board member of the Haslett Parks and Recreation Board for the city of Haslett, and will, to the best of my ability, protect and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of this state, so help me God.
I, Dana Horak, do solemnly swear and will faithfully execute the duties of office and board member of the Haslett Parks and Recreation for the city of Haslett, and will do the best of my ability to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of this state, so help me God.
Okay, perfect. And if you need a pen, I have one.
Just going to say I've been on the Parks Board a long time, and that's the most people that's ever in unison done that together. It was great. So just for formal purposes, I'd like us just to all introduce ourselves, since we have some new and old faces and renewing faces. And Serge, I'm going to start with you. You'll just tell us your name and maybe why you came to the Parks Board.
Serge Richard. I actually live in the Meadows here in Haslett. I've been on a board now.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, this year, so I came halfway through. I'm sorry. So of course I'm getting renewed again. I joined, I think, to make a difference. I wanted to be part of the community. I've never done it before. I've always been externally. Now I want to be internally and be part of the community and get involved in all the things we do and understand what's going on.
Go ahead.
Chuck Fiedler. I also live in the Meadow and just wanted to give back because Haslett's been a good place to live for me.
Dana Horak, live in Haslett Parks, been in Haslett for 27 years. I've been on the park board for about 12 years, and I joined the park board a long time ago to bring the community together and to have events that for the kids in our community to have fun with, and it's been a great experience, and I love doing it.
So I'm Sarah Nembu, and I live in Hugh White. How long have I lived there? Probably 6 years, 5 or 6 years now. And I joined the park board kind of for the same reasons as Dana, just to help, bring the community together, bring the ideas, and help with park events.
My name is Stephanie Grace, and this is the first for me. I joined the park boards to stay involved with the city. We've lived here for 10 years.
My name is Matthew Clark. Please call me Kyle, just to clarify for everybody. I joined the park board to make my voice heard, to make a difference, to help improve the facilities that we currently have, and to bring the community together.
Do y'all want to introduce yourselves too? Because you do count.
A lot of people want to talk about
Non-resident,
I'm a
okay.
non-resident, if y'all have not heard, and I consider this town my home and my kids' home, and I show my kids that this is our home, and
Well, we're glad to have all y'all. Going to go back up one thing to the items of community interest. Hazlet is hiring if anyone is looking for a little job. Sign up. City Secretary, Parks and Ground Maintenance Worker 1, and then also Water Maintenance Worker 1 and 2. And you can visit the Hazlet website if anyone out there is interested in applying to work for the city of Hazlet. All right, so we need to discuss, consider, and act on the election of board officers.
I'd like to re-elect Sarah Nimbu as president of the board for another 2-year term.
I'll second that. Chuck Fiedler.
If anyone doesn't know, I'm Sarah Nembu, and I've been the chair for a few years. Actually, Dana's been the chair before also. I'll accept that nomination, and then we can all vote. So you can abstain or vote. If you don't know me, it's fine. All in favor? I'm going to abstain from voting for myself. I think that's awkward. So I have a question. When they changed the bylaws, the alternates of the other councils don't vote,
They are
but the
all-
alternates of our board vote only if we don't have full members, correct?
probably not going to be.
And are we full at 6 or 7?
We have 7 regular.
Who's our 7? Cindy.
You have a new
Oh,
list
Cindy.
right in front of.
I'm getting rid of Cindy, and she didn't even have a chance to go anywhere. My goodness, I'm so sorry. Okay, so if we don't have Cindy, then do one of them vote on anything?
No, let me read.
Okay,
this
read it to me.
one section. An alternate member may attend all open meetings of the board or commission and to which they serve as an alternate member to see and hear the business of the board or commission, but may not participate in discussion on a matter unless a quorum is needed. An alternate member shall not vote on matters before the board or commission unless the board or commission to which the alternate member is serving lacks a quorum. So only when it's needed to make a quorum. Correct.
But our alternates still actively participate without filling out a speaker card. Okay. Will we have seats and microphones for them? Okay. Okay. So, sorry, I just wanted to clarify that for all of y'all that are new, and then there was changes since I've been on the board, so, but the changes didn't apply to us, they applied to other boards, so I was just making sure. Okay. Yeah, that's great. Yes, always. Oh, well, that's not always true. Correct. So if we don't have quorum and you're here, of course you count towards the voting. But normally to speak, you have to fill out one of these like Kitty did. You fill out one of these little speaker cards that says you want to speak at our meeting. But you guys do not fill that out. You just participate as though you're up here with us. We just don't have enough seats. All the time. Yeah, every time you're here, you can say whatever you want and contribute however you can. And we just don't have enough seats. I'm sorry. I feel bad. This is great.
May I ask a question?
Yeah.
What is the difference between an alternate 1 and alternate 2? Is there any technical differences?
I think alternate 1 goes first to fill the quorum, and then alternate 2 comes second to fill the quorum. So like if only you and Dana are here, then and there's nobody else here but them, then they both would vote. But if like Dana, myself, and Chuck are here, then just James votes, even if Micah is here.
Okay, I've got a paragraph for you.
Okay, she's got the paragraph.
In the event of the absence of a regular member, the more tenured alternate member to that board shall have the priority in serving and voting in place of the regular member. They're joining at the same time, so it won't, make a difference on the date.
Okay. So now we have, sorry, back to the topic here. We have a co-chair, vice chairman nomination. No. So Cindy was the vice chair. When you left, I became chair, Cindy became vice chair. And then we gave Barbara a turn, but Barbara has since retired from the board. So now there's no one even to hold the spot. But Cindy has done it. Dana has. Did Cindy say if she wanted? I didn't ask her. I'm so sorry.
She said she would be out.
No. Did she say anything about elections?
She did not.
Okay. You can nominate whoever you'd like.
I nominate Dana for vice chair.
And I will second the motion. This is Serge.
So we have a motion for Dana Horak to be vice chairman. All in favor?
Passes.
I appreciate y'all giving me a chance to do it one more year.
So you abstain, correct? Thank you.
Okay, so for all of the new members, I'm just going to go ahead and throw it out there. This is going to be the most confusing part of your park board meeting. So the minutes and the financial statement have now become one consent agenda, so we can motion to approve them together versus individually. So you should, maybe one of you has a copy of the minutes from the last meeting. And since, no offense, y'all weren't here, so you might not have anything to contribute.
They're on the board too.
Oh, yes, and they'll put them up on the screen. You have the minute. I don't see them on. The minutes from last time, I'm sorry. Oh, can we go to the next page then? Next one. And then will you put up the financial statement? I'm gonna do my very best to try to explain this to everyone who might not know, because this was literally the worst part for me when I started on the parks board. So any of y'all that can help me with the numbers better, please jump in at any time. So we have several different funds in the parks board. If you look at that first one, I don't know, James, are you better at this than I am? The category 4, it's going to be interest income. So it's all the money that we have coming in. So that first line is going to be interest. If you pay your water bill in the city of Haslett and you click the box that says, yes, I contributed $1, it adds $1 to your bill. So all of those dollars get matched by the city. So then we get a matching water bill fund. And then there's a match from the general fund and then a transfer from the general fund. That basically comes from city council. So we're given X amount of dollars in the budget. And then that first column is what we've adopted to spend. And then the next column is what we've actually spent in September, and then kind of a total at the end. So community outreach revenue, I don't actually know what that is, Katrina.
Incoming from Tai Chi and yoga.
Okay. And then memory lane is if people donate a brick or a tree or buy a brick or a tree.
Correct.
And then same kind of thing for Christmas in the Park. So those are each of our events that are listed there. So there's Christmas in the Park, Easter egg hunt, movie in the park, Hazlet Hustle, 4th of July. Those are the big events that we plan. And then city signs. So then that's the income side. And then underneath it are our expenses. So we have a general expense fund and then an event expense fund. And then on the next page, there's a park improvement fund. Do we have anything changed that we need to look at specifically? Did anything come through? Any invoices? Did we spend $596 extra on movie in the park, or is that just what came after? Okay. And then that was reimbursed by a sponsorship, correct? Yeah. Cool. Will you show the next page for me? So this fund is much bigger than it's been in previous years because of the new developments. So every time a house is built, they pay for, tell me if I'm wrong, James, they pay for a permit. And tell us how that money comes in.
So any kind of commercial building or residential building, they pay fees into the park fund. So that's where those come from. So when there's lots of building, that will grow. The actual amount of, I'm not sure if it's based on the cost of construction or if it's a flat rate. I'd have to look for sure, but yeah. Yeah, so that's, like I said, when things are building, that fund will keep growing, but you can't count on that forever. The main source is that general fund transfer that you get annually. And that's that $62,400.
So sometimes it looks like a lot or a little, and it's just because that fluctuates based on.
So real quick question, the park fund development fee, that is what we get from new housing? From all
Yes.
permits, yeah, new housing or,
Amazon purchases new equipment and there's sales tax on it, like, thing that,
so the more we grow, the larger this fund will become.
right, anytime there's a new development park.
And then that next line there where it says expenses, if I'm correct, those are our budgeted where we kind of allotted that money, but not necessarily where the money has to go or will exactly go.
So these expenses, just directly below that park fund development fee
Yes.
that you're asking, these are some approved projects, which were these funded by EDC, or do you know?
EDC funded a portion,
Okay.
so
Yeah, so these were capital projects, and several of these were carried over from the previous
Mhm.
year. So that was an electrical service upgrade to the park, and then with that was new power centers through that little area on the north side of the creek, and then there was a fall zone that was going to be done in Gamble, and the tennis court is a court stop.
Yes.
And I think
And is
some
that
of
the final amount that'll come out of our budget for the tennis court for now? That last
Yeah.
115, that's the last like payment?
Yeah, that should be the final
Okay.
payment that was made. Well,
Well,
I
out of
think
that
they wrapped.
fund?
I'll have to check. I think they wrapped all that in. There was like a retaining amount of like 2,500, but I believe that is including that portion.
I think that.
And then there's a Veterans Memorial Fund. There used to be a Rotary? Lions Club. There was a Lions Club in Hazlet that sort of dissolved and left the money, and they used to take care of the Memorial Garden. And Cindy, who's not here today, actually had that money put into a memorial fund. And so we purchased stone with it at one point, like a gold star stone to put in the Memorial Garden if we need to pull from that. That's sort of not really our money, but it's our money to kind of manage while it's in there. So. And then there's flag sponsorships. If people buy a flag to hang up. Looks like we might have had one. And that's it. Okay, looks good. Yeah. So we started that tennis court project probably 3 years ago. It takes that long to get it going. So yes, 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 and yes.
So any kind of a city project that exceeds $50,000 is publicly bid. So they will do a set of plans, a scope. It'll be put out there, published in the paper, and then everybody will submit closed bids, and then they'll have a bid opening, and then they'll typically award a bid based on what it was. They'll verify that they met all the requirements and that they're bonded and all those things, but they are publicly bid, anything over that amount.
So when we did the tennis courts, there are two tennis courts with fencing. Is that what you're asking me? How many there finally are? Yes. About,
Yeah, it was in that range, yes.
we did more than 3. Well, no, 3. So when we bid on, so we also, since I've been on the board, have put in the playground here that's on 156 and in the park. And so we had 3 different bids for playgrounds. Playgrounds are a little bit different than tennis courts, but just to give you an idea. So I actually still have them if you're interested in looking them at the end. We got 3 different bids on 3 different people who put in tennis court playgrounds. And then we all kind of looked at it and talked to kids in the community. I have, school age kids, and we looked at them all and decided, for the price and for the structure, what we were going to get out of keep calling it a tennis court, out of the playground. And then as a parks board, we vote and make a recommendation to city council. So we look at it and decide, hey, this is what we think, this is what we think the community thinks, we ask around, and then we're not the final say. We then present it to city council, or they present it to city council on our behalf and say, this is what the parks board has reviewed and decided that they would like to recommend. And then city council looks at it and they can say, no, we don't want that one. But usually they've kind of gone with what we've recommended. I don't think they've ever just flat out said no. So the same thing happened in the tennis courts. Yeah.
And on our website.
Also, if we know specifically, like, so our engineering department, they'll send it out to other contractors that they work doing other sports complexes. And then, so it depends on what it is. If we have a lot of resources, we will send those requests for bid for as many places we think we can get, a eligible bidder.
And I was just going to clarify, we will accept as many bids as come in. It's not limited. The fall zone is go ahead, James.
Yeah, so the surface underneath the new playground, that I think it's kind of green and black, that rubberized surface, that's what it's budgeted in there for. And yeah. Yeah, so in lieu of, like, you're only allowed a handful of options for those kind of things. So right now, what's in most of them is what they call FIBAR, or it's really just, it's a reclaimed kind of, it's MDF. It's furniture that from suppliers where they have remnants and cutouts, and then a company chips and mulches all of that out, and it goes through a triple screening process, and it's an approved playground surface that won't spontaneously combust. But you can't use pea gravel anymore, and you can't use those kind of things. So your options are usually, that would be helpful. It's usually that kind of treated wood product. It's the rubberized products. It's artificial turf, things like that.
And one of our biggest things, that turf was important for us as a board because we really wanted to make it ADA accessible. And so what we had before was not, you couldn't roll a wheelchair in there. So we try to pick, playground pieces that reflected that and made it usable by everybody.
Yes. Yeah, and that rubberized surface is surprisingly expensive. Like that amount of, I think the last estimate we got a few months ago was around $60,000 for such a small area. Now it should last almost the lifetime of that little area, but the FIBAR we have to replace annually. So over the lifespan, it does pay for itself, but it is surprisingly expensive. I would have never dreamed that that's kind of where that fell. But
any other questions about the budget? Oh, go ahead.
And then, so the circuits was for community parks, so there was I'm not sure where the request came from, was that from y'all or from EDC for the power around okay. So that is just adding basically PowerPoints all around for any time we have special events, so vendors and, yeah. That way you can kind of keep some of the generators out of it, you lower the noise, and there's power for all sorts of events.
We used to put the Christmas lights always here in Gamble Park, and then we tried to move them over so that it could be drive-through during the pandemic. And there was nowhere to plug in the lights. So we're like, well, why don't we have any outlets at the basketball court? And James said that'd be, or I don't know if it was James or David, but they said, yeah, we need them. So. It's kind of like we didn't have the budget to do anything, and so we waited, and when the city started developing, we had funds to actually fund the playground. We thought that was most important, so we funded that. I want to say that was $180,000. Is that how much the playground cost? I'd have to look it up. I mean, I've got it somewhere here too if you want to see that. But and then when we had more funds, tennis courts was something. There was some surveys that went out in the city of Hazlet over the past few years. I think we're supposed to be getting one pretty soon again to kind of see what the community wants to have in the area. And so if you live in Hazlet, you fill out the form. And then tennis courts was ranked pretty high. And then just coincidentally, pickleball started picking up, and they came to us, or we came to them and said, hey, can we paint the basketball courts to have pickleball courts on it? So one of our tennis courts has a pickleball court painted on it so that one side could be used for pickleball, but both can be used for tennis. And so it's just kind of whenever we were kind of going down the list of what people wanted and what people needed and asked for, and then when the funds kind of came in, then we can start working on it. So it sort of added through the past years. It just takes a long time to do anything.
One month.
Each year. So if I'm not wrong, that park fund rolls over, but our other budget funds don't. So each year's a new budget that council makes for the Parks Board. We say, yes, this is what we like. Hey, we're spending, $20,000 for Christmas in the park. We want 21,000. And city council says, okay, yes, or okay, no, you've got to stick with what you've got. And we just kind of look at what things cost and how it changes. And then we make suggestions on what we think might need to change. But I think, unless I'm wrong, that fund isn't really like ours. We just sort of manage it. So it rolls over.
Yeah, so every year the fund, what's in there stays. It does not get reallocated for the next year. So what's in there is in that fund. Like I said, there's traditionally a transfer from general fund to this, and that's $62,400, I believe. And that is usually what they base the budget for operations off of for events and all of that. There's also a revenue section where they make assumptions on what revenue will come in. Now, if that revenue doesn't actually come in, then that money isn't really there. But so sometimes that number will include those amounts, but if they don't actually get sponsorships and stuff, then that may not be accurate. Yeah.
Yeah, I told you this was the craziest part for me. It took me months to figure it out. So, yes. We've been patient with each other all along, so it's fine. We're glad to have you, and we'll be as patient as you need to. Okay. Any other questions about the previous minutes or the financial statement? Well, I'm Sarah, and I'll motion to approve the consent agenda item 6, the minutes and the financial statement.
It's Chuck, I'll second.
All in favor? None opposed? Did you abstain? You voted no? I mean, you voted yes. Okay, yeah. All. Okay, so we have our regular sort of projects that the Parks Board helps manage here, or manages, I guess. Our next big event is going to be Christmas in the Park, and we would love all of you to mark that on your calendar because we need all the help we can get. And if you've got friends, bring them too. So it's always the first Saturday of December. That's just sort of a standard day. And it will be December 2nd this year. We have most of the things already picked out and sort of set. There was one thing, at National Night Out, there was the axe thrower people. They were there. I think Katrina had them come. You had them come, right? You pay for them to come out for National Night Out. And so I thought that we had asked them to also come for Christmas in the Park, but maybe it was just for the 4th of July. So I didn't know if we wanted to consider asking them. Did they give us a quote or a bid or anything?
Yeah.
So we have a lot of things for the kids at Christmas in the Park. So I have my list from last. So we have a snow slide from Emergency Ice, and y'all be real shocked to see how much that costs. It's pretty pricey. And then we have no, we did not do that. We have Santa, and there's a Santa that comes to help us out, and we like him a lot, so we usually ask him if he can come back again. So we've got our Santa coming. And then DJ Alex, he's sort of our house DJ and comes to our events. And if you've ever been to an event, you've probably seen Alex. He's real loud and crazy. And then we have a giant inflatable sleigh sort of set up as a prop to take pictures. And I believe we used that in place of the snow globe that we had previously, where you had to like get in it and zip yourself in and take pictures. And we decided not to do that, but to do the sleigh. And then we have a big dual lane dry slide. Can we change that, Katrina? Was there another slide that looked more holiday-ish? Will they let us swap it out? Because remember we did what was the one that we picked initially? Because we couldn't find one like that.
It was called the Wave Slide, and it was blue and white. They just bought this one, and it's brand new. That's why we didn't have that choice before. But if you guys want to trade it out,
is it the same price?
Yes. Let me see.
Are we talking about the 16-footer?
Yeah, remember we got the big.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, the one you had was 19 feet, and this one is only, what, 16 feet. But it probably is a better fit for the skin.
Yes.
Yeah. It was, yes. It was, well, the old one was $4.95 plus, plus. So this one is a little bit more.
Anybody have any thoughts on that? Do we have a picture of the one that we have?
It's on their website. It was that one right there, I believe, on the 19-foot monster wave slide at the bottom.
The dry one, right? Yeah.
The dry one, that's correct.
Christmas.
So do we need attendance for those? Do they come with, or do we need to have volunteers?
It does not come attended, and you did not plan for it to be attended. Because remember, we chose this one because it didn't have inner tubes and it didn't have.
But there will be somebody there kind of managing it?
No, we will need volunteers.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, there was one that had like an inflatable inner tube, and we decided not to do that because then somebody would have to be there. This way, if we get a volunteer, it's great, but we sometimes are short on volunteers. Okay, all the time we're short on volunteers. And so if there wasn't a volunteer, then you just have to default it to parental supervision, which doesn't always happen, but I figured at least that one was safer without parental supervision.
Because I'm fixing to tell you what to pay for their staff.
But we got several things from them. Did they give us any discount? Would that new one have discount?
She does give us a little discount, which is why on that Christmas sheet I handed out last month, you saw just one total for all those items.
Yes.
The way they invoice it, they discount it and give you one.
So from that particular
$75 an hour for staff people. with a minimum of 4-hour purchase.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
I mean, as long as they're like 12 and older, right?
So one of the things that we chose was to re-bring out the snow ice slide, and it's very cool. And it's a big metal slide, and they blow ice on it, and the kids slide down on inflatable sleds. And we did it for a couple of years. And one year, a physician from THR came over here, and I think he was the only one working that. I mean, I had several volunteers, but it was hard for the high schoolers to do it. And nobody wanted to do it because it was actually work, and you had to lift the inner tubes up, and it was. So this year we paid for people to do that, like to actually have a paid staff run that, just because I didn't want to leave it to risk. And no offense, we didn't have all of y'all back then, so I'd be happy if somebody else wants to do it next year. But this year we're going to let them run it because that's hard. So we decided to not. You saw how expensive they are; they're not very inexpensive. So it looks like from this inflatable Party Magic company, we have the inflatable sleigh for pictures, a kids train ride that is decorated like Polar Express, and then the dual lane dry slide. And all of those three things together total $2304.30. So are we good with that price with the blue and white one, or do we want to switch to see if we can get the Christmas one? Because we looked for the Christmas one, but we couldn't find it.
I think Christmas would be more appropriate.
Okay.
Personally.
Anyone else have any opinion? Christmas? Okay. We have to vote for that to change it?
No.
Okay.
You don't. Not necessary.
So if they'll let us change it, we'd like to change it to the Christmas one.
She's holding it for us. I asked.
Perfect.
Quick question. I know this is going backwards a little bit, but for the benefit of our new board members.
Yeah.
Would it be just for informational purposes? How much it costs to have go on these events? Like, what is a snow slide? What is the cost of a snow slide? What's the cost of Santa? This way, everybody can see it's not it's not a couple dollars.
So the emergency ice snow slide is $9,200 to have that blown with ice. Previously, we've had the snow slide and then a little play area for ice for them to play on. That kind of gets complicated too because nobody watches their own kids sometimes, and it gets a little tricky. It's unfair to parents who are trying to watch their kids and somebody else's kids. So I think we decided not to do the play area this year and just do the actual snow slide, which is the cool part anyway, and then have this inflatable slide. Santa, I'd have to look back. Do you know how much Santa is, Katrina?
3 to 7.
3 to 7. Yeah. Yes. Yes. I believe so.
There's the picture, Sarah, of the snow slide.
I'm going to take that back. Is it a 10-foot snow slide, a 15 by 15 area, and 4 staff? Is it all 3? The staff, the slide, and the little play area?
Correct.
Okay, so we did get a small play area, but just one. A 15 by 15. Just for the kids to throw snow around and play in it. Yeah. We don't pay them, they come from the company. Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Because it's their equipment, for them to be responsible for it, they have to have their people that they're insured under. Ish. Yeah.
I mean, I have the invoice if that's what you're asking, but it is called Texas Snow Party, and it comes from Emergency Ice of Dallas. Might be last year's, actually. Is the agreement not an item?
Yes.
Well, I'm a very good bargain shopper, and I can tell you nobody else offers this in Dallas with real snow. You can get somebody out of San Antonio maybe, but they don't have a lot of competition.
I've also called myself to try to find someone else, and they're not here. There's one in Austin, but then you have to pay the travel fee and. Yeah, we usually do. When they send us an estimate, they kind of tell us what it includes. We don't usually staff anything. It's usually just the rental fee, like for the inflatable item, or the rental fee for the snow itself. You know, they just come and blow the snow and then they leave. But yes, we usually get the most we can from them when they give us a bid, and then we kind of compare the bids to. I mean, I still, even when now, you know, have to have an electrical outlet replaced in my house. I get 3 bids. I'm like, well, the city says you need 3, so I need 3 people to come out to my house. That's a Katrina question.
There is a contract. Exactly what it says. No, no. Now, the axe people do require individual.
Oh yes, so when the there are axe throwers. I don't know if you to throw an axe, I physically have to sign myself up and my son up at their table before you can throw an axe at their booth. But I don't think that there's the parents don't sign the snow sled.
Depends on their insurance.
Do you know how much we paid for Santa? Did you say?
I did not say yet, but we pay $725.
So to get Santa, $725. Santa comes and rides the fire truck. Listen, if you want to dress up like Santa and pretend that you're a Yep. Yep. We would love for your recommendation.
But we're gonna need a backup because I had a Santa call in sick.
Put y'all in a suit together.
I had a Santa call in sick one year. That's why. Not now. We've already hired one this year. We can talk about it. I had to hire this guy in January.
Okay, so just in regards to.
Yes, for next year is definitely a possibility. Absolutely. Yeah.
Like we use a professional company that we are guaranteed a professional Santa. I don't care who calls them sick. We need.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, so it's nice to have their security behind them, you know, so that, hey, we know if for some reason the one that we like can't make it, they at least send us somebody else. You know, if he did fall very ill, we'd still have somebody coming.
One year before we had this.
Yeah.
And then Kurt. I don't know if y'all know Kurt.
And then we have some light towers. So just to bring more light into the park, they run about $160 each, and we have asked for 3 so far just to place around the park. And we usually let James tell us how many we need and where they're going to go, and then how much they cost. And he kind of gets the estimates and the bids, and then says, "This is what it's going to cost to get the best light towers. This is how many we need." And then we say, "Okay, well." Usually it's me that says, "Can we get one less than you're asking for and save some money?" And they usually convince me to do what James wants because he's right. Because we need the lights for the kids so people aren't tripping over themselves. So we have light towers, and then we're looking at getting some portable toilets and hand washing stations, but we kind of wait till closer to that. And then Hazlitt Feed and Farm over here, we get hay bales from them. We've used them previously to make a snow slide, but we put them around the play area just to kind of keep the kids contained a little bit, help the parents, so that they're not just all sliding off of the little ice. And some Christmas in the park, we have snow for a while, and some Christmases we have snow for 30 minutes. So it just depends on what the weather does and how long the ice lasts, because it's just ice. It's not like refrigerated. I mean, it's just out in the sun. And then we talked about t-shirts last time. And we were able to we have previously had reindeer, but they are not native to Texas. And so I actually looked at putting reindeer in my property and had to call like the game warden, and you have to like have so high of fences, and it's kind of complicated. So I talked to a guy that lives down like in Burleson area, and he was explaining to me that one of his had passed away and he had to go to like Michigan to get another one. And I was like, I think I'm not going to raise any reindeer. It was very complicated. They're about $12,000 for one. So anyways, we used to get 2 that would come out for the kids, but there's only a few that are in the area. So we decided this year we would get a rain steer, which is a longhorn that has antlers.
But we didn't vote for that.
Oh, but we didn't vote for that?
We voted that down. It was
Oh, we did vote that down because of the horns.
No, because it was $2,500.
It was
for 2 hours.
$2,450 to get this rain steer rented. And we were like, there's really sharp horns and that's expensive. But we've tried lots of different things for that. And then we actually have, this is a yes, I know, Coast to Coast Entertainment. The kids love it and we love it and they're really great. They're these stilt walkers. And so they're going to be, if you went to National Night Out, they were the police officers and we asked for them to come back and they're toy soldiers. They're just really good with the kids and they take pictures and they'll take pictures for you and get the angle so you get a cool picture with them being so tall. And to have 2 of them come, we use a company for that. And that's $650 for 2 of them for 2 hours. So it's $300 for 2 hours per person, basically. So $150. I'm sure some of that goes to the company for the costume, and then some of that goes to them. So if you got any stilt walkers in your pocket, we'll take them too. Okay. Serge, you're on it? You've been practicing? So we will have, are we going to have face painting?
Well, you guys decided that too many vendors are
Oh, that's
selling
right.
it to let it go that way.
Okay. Oh, this is last year's.
But it's
layout.
not too late. Change mine.
So those are the things that we have. We have some snow slides. We have the snow party, the kids train ride that rides around, and then this. That's it. The train, the slides, DJ, Santa. One of the firemen made that backdrop. If y'all been, he built that for Santa to sit in front of. And Katrina found some chairs. We got some chairs that look like actual chairs instead of not having chairs. And so at least it looks, you have to bring your own camera, but it looks really cute. It looks really nice. So back to my point. Go ahead.
What about that foam jump? That was full of foam. Kids got in there.
The foam pit.
Yeah, the foam.
Yeah.
Do we have?
We don't. Do we want it?
We didn't want wet kids for December,
Oh,
did we?
yes. We said no because of it being, maybe it's cold and then they would be wet. So we have vendors and the vendors sign up and we usually have enough food vendors that sign up for a spot. So the vendors pay a setup fee and they can sell, light up toys or their homemade t-shirts or, their same for food. We usually have like a barbecue truck, a snow cone truck. Do we have anyone signed up yet, Katrina, for Christmas?
We do, only a couple. But we do have some food trucks interested, and we kind of have a few that are repeat customers. So it's $100 for a food truck to be a vendor and $50 for a 15 by 15 booth.
Is there a like I'm gonna start that and we've made a lot of every vendor that goes into those plastic bowls, that's like set up. Is there any way we could make that where we could that stuff? Because I mean, just for snow cones, one day you might not. Yeah, so basically, if you want to come sell product at this place, whatever you said.
Did you also charge them?
No, it was, and everyone, like, we had a donut, custom donut maker. It was amazing. Like,
So who's out there auditing?
If they let us, their sales tax. First, they have all their
Would y'all think that would work for the smaller family-owned businesses that are also setting up shop? Or what about people that are selling like their koozies or their, T-shirts that they make? Because we have all the vendors kind of lumped in.
I think that's something we can look at for next year.
Yeah, for sure.
But don't want to overcomplicate this year.
That's too late.
Yeah, well, right. Yes, it would be for next year, of course. Yeah. No, I'm just getting the idea behind it. So I'm going to ask you this other question and kind of play devil's advocate. So we have traditionally charged a fee for a certain amount of space. And if they get a double space, they pay an extra fee. So would you recommend doing like a sliding scale? If you have the smaller one, you pay 5%. If you have the bigger one, you pay 10% of your sales because you're using 2 spots?
Because if you think about this, that one would pay you got one
Good to think about. No, I like it. Sorry. So yes, that's what it costs. Expensive. So we have these items that are mostly for kids. I know that we've done a petting zoo before. Do we usually do that at Christmas?
No, because you had the reindeer, but you would like.
We've had petting zoos before. We've had the little jumpy, bouncy thing before where the kids like that over 4th of July. But again, it's probably a weather permitting kind of activity. What about hot chocolate? Is the fire department out of that?
Oh, they're out of that business.
Okay,
Yes.
they're out of that business. So we've previously had hot chocolate provided, but if there's hot chocolate vendors, then of course we wouldn't need that. I was going to ask something else. Oh, so there aren't many adult items here that I'm seeing, which is why I thought that we might want to bring back the Axe people. And that's something that we pay them to come and set up, and then it's free to all of the people that are at the park that day. Same with the train ride. We pay for that, so nobody pays to get on the kids' train ride. We pay for Santa. Nobody pays to take a picture with Santa. The only thing that people pay for at the event is what they buy to consume, like their food, or if they want to take a picture. So the rock climber went out of business because I called them and asked them about it, and they said that they went out. And then we tried to get one with another company, and it was
We
like
did once or twice.
it was double the price or something. But we rented it from the other company. We could do the rock climbing.
Same inflatable.
Can we maybe see if the rock climbing is available? Yes, yeah, that was expensive too. Do you think that's weather appropriate? What do y'all think? The little thing where they strapped in and then they bounced and flipped. That was the hit.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of kids were very interested in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the axe throwing, surprisingly, was really popular with
I love
kids.
the axe throwing. Yes, my son will. Yeah, it's great. My son did it. My daughter won't do it, but my son does it every time.
There's the one, Sarah, the rock climbing.
Oh yes, so
It's
here's the
gonna
rock
be
climbing. Looks like that one's $900
plus
plus
fees,
tax
so-
and delivery fees. And then the kids can climb to the top, and there's usually a bell that they ring and come back down. And then can you see if you can pull up that bouncy thing that we had at 4th of July? What's that thing called? The trampoline, where they jump on the trampoline and then they flip in their harness and they do the bungees.
And they have two choices.
So we had these on 4th of July, this bungee thing, and it was cool. And I think we went with the 4.
We went with the smaller one.
It was a really big hit. Yes, that's the one that we had. So do we want to add anything to Christmas in the Park? Did we get an estimate from the axe throwers? I keep asking that. I'm not getting my
$650.
$650. So if we did the axe, and that would be the whole time, 3 to 7.
I believe that is correct. I'm gonna double check here in a minute. And then we have a quote for $485 to supply the hay, and then we have a T-shirt price and wrapping the pecan tree price.
Oh gosh. There's a huge tree in Gamble Park that looks really pretty when it's wrapped and lit up. But you have to like have the little thing to raise yourself up and get to the top and wrap the thing. And last year it was like me and Cindy or me and Dana wrapping all the trees in the park, and it's not really that exciting. And so we decided to pay for somebody to do that, and it was great. Okay. So I'm going to just go back and go one thing at a time, if you'll just pause for a second. Do we want a motion for the axe throwers for $650?
Well, skip that one. I'm gonna verify the price.
Oh, I'll skip that one while she verifies the price real fast. Well, she said we need hay, so we need to approve the $485 for the hay bales. $485. Do we need that many though if we're not building up the snow slide?
You know, we talked about it, and I was told yes.
I think we probably still do. We rarely have enough, really. And going around that little area, you're probably going to need every bit of that. They need something as a block when they come off those slides, and then you need something as...
Okay, you're right. Because it goes on the side of that big slide in the end, and then, okay.
Yeah, I mean, hay bales is typically what people use. There's not too many other things that are cheap enough and soft enough, and they typically only buy straw, which is relatively
I was
inexpensive.
going to say, so straw bales. Hay's expensive, by the way, this year.
So
What do you mean?
usually it is saturated and just disposed of because it
It's
molds
destroyed.
and
I tried to take some to my cows, and it wasn't cow-worthy. It's not cow-worthy, it's bad.
This is Dana. I make a motion that we spend up to $485 for straw hay bales for Christmas in the park.
The surge, I'll second.
All in favor? None opposed?
800 for the axe throwing for all 4 hours.
I still think it's worth it. So I'll motion that we approve $800 to have the axe throwers at Christmas in the park.
This is Dana. I second the motion.
All in favor? None opposed?
Let you do the pecan.
And then the pecan tree, this really pretty tree that they light up. If anyone can't see it, wants to see it closer on here. So to, wow. Okay, so the farmer's market, which if y'all don't know, they own Haslett and they own the one in Richmond Hills. I think they have it still, I'm not sure. It is $4,200 for the installation and removal of the light, and $1,300 to rent the lift for them to install it and remove it. So their total estimate to wrap this one tree alone would be $5,500. That one tree. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There are. Yeah, I have another one. So I have another one from Price Right Tree and Landscaping, and they're actually, they live in Hazlet. Their company is in Hazlet, over there with me in Hugh White, actually. And their Christmas light custom tree wrap for the large pecan tree uses, this quote includes the use of 80 new strands of light, and it has full warranty on the cost of the light. Every year service are free after the initial install. So if we were to keep using them, they keep maintaining the light, and they will replace the strands every year at no cost to the customer. The initial year, see, this is confusing. It says lights are provided by the customer, but this quote is to use 80 strands of new light. So we provide them 80 strands, and they're going to install them for that price?
No, they're going to provide. We had in the past asked for that, but not.
Do we still have any lights from before?
Yeah.
Okay. So we could technically provide them because this says
Well,
lights are
nobody wants
provided.
to go to the trouble of placing any.
Okay.
Correct, James?
Well, you'll have to remind me. So we used Price Right last year.
We did.
And we purchased the lights up front. And those lights, I don't believe you can replace individual lights anyway. They're pressed and those are solid.
What happened to those lights when we took
So I
them
do
down?
believe they were storing those for us.
Okay.
And if they're putting that in there to replace all of them, I don't think that's accurate. We need to check to see if that's
Because this
correct.
says this quote is to use 80 strands of new light.
Right, that's
Yeah.
what I'm.
Yeah, I don't believe we would be replacing the lights. That should.
They did not. It just says, sorry, go ahead. Yes. They stored for free, yeah. Right. Right. So this says improved design and wraps on tree based on pictures. Well, this estimate, so they're going to wrap it basically. We also provide the lights. When the farmers market did it, we provide the light. So that was $5,500. For Price Right, it's $1,760. So that's a little bit better because that includes the rental of the lift, and the guys come out, and he's got a pretty big team, and I think they wrap it. The other estimate that they gave me here is the Christmas lights, custom Christmas lights tree wrapping. Install LED lights on one additional pecan tree using 45 new strands, full warranty on the light. But then it says lights provided by the customer, maybe because they don't have any more light. Would have to clarify, I guess. And then the rest of the 4 live oak trees is another price. And then 1 hackberry, 1 red cedar, and 1 pine tree, because these are tree guys and they know what those trees are out there, is another price. So it's $990, $1,430, and $1,540. So for all the rest of the trees in the park there, that's a lot of money. $3,960. No. It just,
I think it's
1, 2, 3, 7, 8. It's 8. 8 trees. Yes. It's very high. But the reason we went with Price Right last year is because we were given 5,500 and we were given 1,760. And we were like, well, hands down, 1,760, we're wrapping trees on a light, or, lights on a tree. So we used Price Right last year. I thought they gave us a better deal on the rest of the trees.
Last year, we paid $7,020 for the additional trees and $3,120 for the pecan, all to Price Right. $7,020.31.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we can take another quote. We'll take it. Those are the only two that we have. Yeah. I just know that it's already October, and if we don't get on somebody's book, then it's harder to get in. So if we wait until November 10th to try to find somebody to put them up on November 14th, it's going to be real tight. Because we only meet monthly. Yeah.
Email them to me.
This has to
You
be
would email
voted
them to
on.
me.
8, I think. I think there's 8 trees. 8. I mean, I've done the other 8 trees. We have done, we can do them ourselves. But
If
we
y'all
just
want to
need
help us,
some
it's not that hard to do the rest of
help
the
to get
trees.
out there, and we're not going real high up.
We have some. We have some. But I'm just being honest, it was just Dana and her husband putting up lights by themselves. And that's not really fair either. So we,
Just
just saying.
So
all right.
let's schedule a light party.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we would love to
Indeed.
schedule a light party with all of our new members and all of your neighbors. We do. Some of them have bad bulbs. We went through a bunch of buckets last year before you weren't. It was me and Cindy. We went through all the buckets. I think James. Can you get it to us right now? Can you email it before the end of the meeting? It's the only way we can get him.
Go ahead, James. Tell them about the ones we bought at Home Depot. that didn't even
Well,
last one.
So typically we find at Home Depot, they don't even have lights like during the Christmas season. They're sold out before. Our city lights that go around the building, we bought from a commercial supplier years ago, and we use those every year. We actually ordered, True Value gets the LED C9s, and we ordered those like 3 or 4 months before Christmas, and they just provided them. But we've not found a lot of luck finding
They're
matching
not
and
commercial quality.
right. So typically we don't go that route. And then as far as the tree ones, we're using a mix match. Some of it was even donated stuff. For a few years, the city allowed people to donate some stuff, which ultimately that stuff didn't hold up. So it's a mix match. And then everything we've had since came off of the original wrapping of that tree. That was by the feed store. And again, that stuff lasts 3 to 5 years before it's starting to fall apart, especially with the new LEDs. The LEDs are great, but when they start going out, a lot of times they are not replaceable. So you're throwing away the stringers, just not like the old days where you could just buy new bulbs and fuses and keep them going. So yes, and it went with, and we still should have those. So that's I haven't even seen the quotes for price, and I'm not sure what they're saying on there, because we do have those lights. They are stored with them. So some of that they wrap in a maintenance program. So if they're bad, they're covering the cost of putting new ones in. If they're good, they're putting those up. But they're ultimately standing behind. They're going to make sure the lights are good. So I'm not sure if that's how that's written there, and if that's recognizing the fact that we already own them.
We own. We only started paying about 2 years ago. We do have the last 2 years, but we won't have like a 5-year range because we used to do it ourselves. And then we started having somebody else do it. And that first year we paid a lot. And then last year Price Right came and said, no, that's too expensive. Well, we knew it was, but we didn't get any other quotes and we couldn't get anybody else to come in. And I called people myself, tree hangers. Yeah. We didn't do the trees in the park though. The first year, all we had them do was wrap the big pecan tree. And we were out there wrapping the small trees ourselves. And then the park board kind of got smaller and smaller. We couldn't get any of the other boards to help us. We couldn't get anybody of our friends to help us. So we were like, okay, well, how about we have somebody come and do that for us? And so we all decided that that would be the easiest thing. So we did that last year again, a second time. Oh, absolutely. Sure. Yep. We have lots of sponsorship opportunities that are advertised at each event. We don't usually get many hits on those, and we call them ourselves and we ask them. We do have a realtor company that sponsors our movie in the park pretty religiously. That's really the only person that every year consistently. Dr. Alanis used to contribute. He's one of the dentists here in Hazlet. He used to donate annually, towards that fund.
Both
but
of the big hospitals.
the hospitals send,
consistently give us-
yeah. So we have a few. That's kind of how we get the money in the first place. Because we only are allotted the 60,000, but we usually end up spending 100,000. So a lot of it comes in from sponsorship and other revenues, vendor fees, and things like that. Yeah, it'd be great if you've got some connection at Amazon over there and you can walk in and say, hey, would you like to spend 20,000 to light our trees? And BNSF sponsors us for a lot too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, if y'all want to wrap it with us, I'm game to wrap them again. It's just really hard when there's only 1 or 2 people. It takes so much
Well,
time.
I think last year when you guys did the wrapping, I worked.
Mm-hmm, right.
So I think the wrapping started when I was working, so I'd love to help.
Yeah, we
but
did it like a Wednesday
I gotta
morning or
work.
something.
So if we did it, like I said a lighting party, but a Saturday morning / afternoon, Sunday, whatever works best for everybody, I would have absolutely no problems volunteering. And since James says he can't take no for an answer, so he would help out too.
Okay. I want
You're in,
to,
James.
Okay, I want to clarify on the Price Right. So
Okay.
they will use the lights that we bought last year, that we have, that they provided us. And their warranty covers the cost of those lights and replaces any strands that go out for no additional cost.
Okay. 1760. Pass it down.
No, that's
Just the one tree,
let her. I gave her my.
$1,760. That would $3,960 for the rest of the trees. But if y'all are willing to help, we're going to save $4,000. Yes.
Yeah, and last
No,
year we
well, this
paid
is
for
the
the
big
lights.
tree, the 1,007. Yeah.
Yeah, so that it was more. It was expensive the first year. It was the
'Cause
same
we
with
didn't
the
have any
feed store.
lights.
Is we had to buy the lights up front, and then if we continue it on, we'll maintain it and for those costs.
But honestly, if I don't have any experience getting up on a little raisy lift thing, so I'm not going to help decorate the pecan tree to the top. But if you've got one and you want to do it, then we can save $1,000, $1,760, or we can use them. But I know that we can wrap the lower trees ourselves because we've done it before. It's just not easy for one person or 2 people to do it by themselves. So if all of y'all are in, we can just say, forget this other one. Yes. Get more quotes. Mm-hmm. We love that y'all are willing to do that. Yes. I mean, do you really have a lift? Is that something you really wanted to do, or should we just go for that one? Okay. Okay. Okay.
My thought is, let's stick with the 1760,
Okay.
For
Price
this
Right
year?
to do the big pecan,
get that done, and like I said, the
and we'll
rest of
do the
us
rest
will
ourselves.
volunteer to wrap ourselves.
Okay.
Is that a motion?
Sure, that's a
That was a
motion.
motion. So
That's a
Serge
motion.
motioned to go with Price Right trees to wrap the big pecan tree, and that we will man up and wrap the small ones
Wrap it
ourselves
ourselves,
as a
correct.
team,
And then we'll set a date for that.
and we'll set a day for that. Do we have a second?
Chuck will second.
Chuck will second. All in favor? None opposed. Price Right it is.
Okay, t-shirt are next. So I got a price from our regular Christmas t-shirt vendor, Fort Worth Promo. Long sleeve shirts, same price that they supplied them in 21. And that is $2,135. Short sleeve t-shirts for $1,106.
Did we ever find out if the other company was able to make the online sales an option for pre-sales?
They were, but you're still gonna have to buy a certain number, a minimum, and set up the store.
Got it. Does it detract from the number that we've previously purchased? So if we say we want to buy 100 and people pre-sign up and buy 50 of those, do we still have to buy the additional 100?
Yes, they have a minimum.
T-shirts, Christmas in the Park T-shirts. We sell them, but we don't make any money off of them. It's more of a people buy them because they want to keep them. They're not cheap to buy T-shirts, and so we basically get the cost of them, but then we throw them out like at 4th of July or at other events to give away. We give the vendors, certain vendor levels have a shirt that comes with their space, and then they're usually for sale in the park. The T-shirt has of course, she probably doesn't have it today. Do you have it? Oh, yes. So this was last year's short sleeve T-shirt. We have a long sleeve T-shirt that has been done in red, one that's been done in heather gray. I think there's a white one. What other colors do you have? Dana has most of the colors. Yeah, and then last year was the first year I think we did the short sleeve, and it wasn't as popular. People were like, oh, I want the long sleeve one for Christmas. So we tried short sleeve because they were a little less expensive.
Or a lot less.
A lot less expensive. It's not a money-making product at all. We probably sell 30, 40. There's the red one. They pay sponsorships.
In order to get
So unfortunately, it's kind of that we've offered them their sponsorship on the back of the shirt as part of, their sponsorship. So they get blasted on the back, and then we have these shirts. Yes. Yes. Probably. It all washes together. So the way the funds roll out, it's not like one person's sponsorship covers the shirt. It's more of we get $4,000 worth of sponsorships and we spend $20,000 for the event. So does it cover it? If we wanted to nickel and dime it down, probably we could say yes, between these sponsors, it covers the cost of the shirt. But we also, over the years, we've had certain events that so I'm just going to back up a little bit. We used to have something called Wild West Fest. And so that dissolved because that was a money loser. It never made any money ever. And it only happened about half the time due to weather. And we finally said, hey, why are we doing this year after year if it's not predictably successful? And Garrett was on the board and he said, you know what, 4th of July was so great. Let's just move it to 4th of July. Let's move that money over and have the band come at 4th of July because we know 4th of July happens and people come out and it's a great event. So people pay money to the city. When I live in Hazlet, so I pay money to Hazlet and that provides those events. I take advantage of them. I have kids. I like coming out and being in the community. I go to National Night Out whether I'm on the Parks Board or not. So that's just, I'm kind of a nerd like that. But the money that we spend is more of money from the residents for the residents. And so it's not necessarily that we're trying to make any money off of it versus provide a service to the community. So we never really, personally, I don't think anyone's ever said, hey, this sponsorship pays for this or that. It's just kind of a, these are the sponsors that we get. This is what we plan to spend. And hopefully we get enough to cover it all at the end. Yes. Yeah, we can try that if we're going to switch over to a different kind of vendorship next year where you're giving a percentage instead of a vendor fee or a sponsorship fee. When we redo the sponsorship, we don't have to list t-shirts on there. Yeah. No, it's fine. I mean, because you're right. We don't really make any money off of the t-shirts. They've kind of been a thing that we've always done, and you get your name on the back if you're a sponsor. So we've just rolled it over.
But none of our events are profitable.
Yeah, none of our events have ever been profitable.
Community-wide events for the community that the city pays.
So we need to buy how many shirts?
That was for 150 shirts.
Okay.
And I'm looking at the Spirit Wear. Theirs get a little bit cheaper the more you buy, but you would have to buy, this average is $14 shirt for the long sleeve. You'd have to buy at least 200 from Spirit Wear to get them down to $17.50 shirt.
Oh, so the other one's better. Yeah. I feel like we just bought 150 last year and just kind of rolled with it. And we just picked random sizes. And if we sold them, we sold them. And if we didn't, we didn't. And we gave them to the vendors.
Vendors don't get t-shirts for
Sponsorships, I'm sorry.
Yes, all that information is already published for this.
So yes. So we have to have t-shirts this year. So I say we go for the cheaper ones. I think we have two.
I mean, you had long sleeve or short sleeve.
What was the one that Cindy wanted us? The Keller, whatever, Keller trophies.
Yeah, she never sent that. We try to use local, so these are companies.
I'm going to see if Cindy got a quote. I don't know if she's available or not, but I'll text her and see if she has that. I mean, we could do the short sleeves. They're less expensive. They just weren't as popular. Not that they're really that popular anyway. I will say though that they're left over. So the Parks Board, we all get a shirt when we have them. And my favorite one is the gray one from a few years ago. I've got a gray long sleeve one that I like a lot.
I think it'd be more appropriate long sleeve in the wintertime, personally.
Yeah, I think so. So the long sleeve quote was $21.35 for the 150 shirts. And that was the cheaper of the two.
Correct.
And then what are we selling them for? $15? Just to get the money back.
And we are committed to get t-shirts, correct?
Yeah, because of the advertising
Yeah,
of
advertising.
sponsors get their name on it. We can take it off next year. T-shirts are less popular than they used to be. When I was in college, everybody had a t-shirt for everything, and you made t-shirt blankets out of all your extra t-shirts. But I'm not as big of a fan of t-shirts as I used to be. I think we just need to make a motion. We should probably go with the lesser of the expensive long sleeve version and then reevaluate that for next year and see if it's something that we want to offer to the sponsors or not. $21.35 for the long sleeve.
This is Dana. I make a motion that we spend up to $2,135 on T-shirts for Christmas in the park.
I'll second that.
And I need the color.
Oh, and a color. Well, all in favor? Not opposed? And a color. I don't care.
Y'all's
I like
first
red.
T-shirt. What color
It's
do you
y'all's
want?
first time. You pick the color. White, gray, green, red. Those are the, did you see that cute little, it's got red and green on the front. It's the actual Hazlitt, like, Christmas in the Park logo. It's super cute. I don't know who designed that logo, but I love it.
Fort Worth promo.
Tanya did? I like white. So we have a green vote. Anyone opposed or have a preference to another? All right, green and red. You can only choose one. You can choose green or you can choose red. Y'all just tell us what your preference is. We're not going to let you vote, but we're green. So you got to choose red or green. All right, go for it. Hold on, I got to take a note here. Green.
For more cost. It's just a setup cost extra. It's not phenomenal. I think it's 40. But
I
then
like
you're
white,
divided
but
on
I'm
your
not gonna do
sizes.
the
I
other
don't
one.
know. Doesn't
I'm
matter
gonna
to
go.
me.
I'll pick red. I'd probably pick red. I'm gonna pick red. I think we did green last year, so I'm going for red. And you said green. Green. Tiebreakers. Green.
I'm adding that to the motion.
It was 3-4. If anyone wants to know. Wait, there's only 6 of us. How did I get that? Oh, I counted y'all. So it's fine. Whatever. What else?
I think Dana wants to talk about the decoration.
I asked James if we could get into the equipment and room and start looking at the Christmas decorations. Every year, I don't know if y'all have ever passed by Gamble Park at Christmas time, but the park is lit up with decorations that either the city's purchased or we've gone out and gotten sponsors to sponsor decorations. And so we need to set a date of when we can all get together out there and put them out. We use we need a T-post driver and T-post and some other equipment that we use, ladders and things like that, that we all get out there and we just put them up ourselves. And then the city guys, they'll take them down and put them up for us after Christmas. Typically, we do it the week of Thanksgiving, but seems like we're just scrambling every time to get it done right before the event happens, December 2nd. And December 1st, they'll be out there still trying to put stuff together. So if we could get out there a little bit earlier maybe to set things up, that way we wouldn't be, rushing around so much. And if something needs to be fixed, we have time to fix it and things like that. There's some lights that I want to look at maybe if they're out, taking them to the Hazlitt feed store or feed market. They recover some of the decorations and get a quote for how much it might cost. But at this point, I don't know what all needs to be recovered. Usually I can do all the rope lights myself, but the other lights, we're going to have somebody else do them if they need to be done. So
Can I pause you for a second?
Uh-huh.
I want y'all to know that last year, Dana restrung a bunch of lights for us. So those stupid little things that are metal frames and have lights on them are expensive. And you can't fix them because you can't just pull a light out and replace them because they're LED and they're rope. So you have to like cut them and splice them. And so Dana's the master magician of this cutting and splicing, and she redid our Christmas light bulbs and, well, she did a lot of that for cheaper than we could have bought new ones. No, so in the park there are, I don't know, do we have any pictures of those?
Oh,
Like there's the singing tree. Mhm.
okay, watch
Light
closely.
bulbs.
Here comes the video.
mm-hmm.
Yes. But like that little gingerbread is like $900. And like the little teeter-totter is like $1,400. I mean, it's not like we're just spending a couple bucks to get these. And you can't restring them. So what we learned last year was that when they go bad, you kind of have to buy a new one. And those big trees, Santa, the singing trees that sing together, and the little light bulbs, James and David were restringing some of them, and then Dana went and fixed more spliced. So a lot of it's already spliced, but just so you know, they're not that inexpensive. So when she's saying go through them, she means like we need to get them all out, see which ones work, which ones don't work, and if her master magician skills can replenish them, then we'd say, okay, we approve, you know, I think it was like $1,000 last year, and we were happy to give it to Dana to buy the light. I mean, we didn't give it to her. We bought her lights for her to take them and redo all that work, but she volunteered all that work. I mean, we didn't pay her to do it. And so it's kind of, they're not cheap. So thank you. I'll just say thank you again, Dana, because she saved a bunch already, but they kind of get in storage, and then James is like, well, I don't know if it
It's
works
just a
or not,
rope
because it's
light.
the next year. So and the
Goes
rope
out.
light.
So Dana, what are you thinking date-wise? Because
Oh,
we
I
have the
mean,
Thanksgiving weekend. That's
let me
about,
look at the calendar here for November. Our event is December 2nd.
yeah, Thanksgiving weekend's the weekend before that.
Is
Yeah,
the 27th.
We did it the day after Thanksgiving last year.
What date? Oh, mid-November. The 11th
Or the 18th?
or 18th. November 18th would be good, probably.
Well, I have a question. I have a question about, I don't know what y'all's work schedules are like, or if you guys are unavailable altogether, but I know that for the city, they're not usually here on a Saturday. So some of it has to be done when they're here on a weekday. So I don't know if anybody has any, I know Dana I probably can help you. Dana we can probably just take a basic look and then have it ready. So on the weekend, people that are working during the week, you know, finish up what we get started or something like that.
It takes more than just one day.
Yeah, it
It'll
takes a couple
take
of days.
like several days of just going out there and, you know, getting it set up. And then the city guys, they'll bring the extension cords out and they figure out how to plug it in. I just put it out there and they figure it out. So yeah, it'll take more than one day.
Well, let me know when you're going to go do it. I'm retired, so
Yes.
I got time.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you available any of that week, Kyle, of the 12th? Like, do you leave on Saturday, or are you going to be around? Like, if we did the Thursday, Friday, Saturday kind of run and got started earlier in the week, and then
That would be good.
we know you couldn't do it on Saturday, but people who were able to on Saturday could finish up. Okay. And do you work Monday through Friday, like 9 to 5? Okay.
That's be good.
I do both.
We might do
Do-
both.
Yeah, it'll take more than that too, but that's a start. 9, 10, 11.
And of the 9th and the 11th, I can only do the 9th in the morning.
Okay. Yeah. We just need to get everybody's phone number so we can kind of coordinate it. And if you can come, come when you can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. James will be having to set up all the singing equipment, all the singing trees that we have out there, and the singing bulbs and all that. We're buying new equipment. And matter of fact, we need to talk about that again tonight. What James has found to play that music and coordinate it with the tree, because we have also a digital tree that also goes with the music as well. So James, were you able to get in that equipment that we talked about?
So I haven't purchased any of it. Most of the components are next day from Amazon. The computer, I'm looking at a handful of options. They did release a new one of the smaller Raspberry Pis. They're supposed to come out. It's a microcomputer that is possible it'll run it. There's just not enough information. If that is, it's quite a bit cheaper. But it's supposed to be released like in 2 days. So depending on availability and there's not enough information to see if it will. We'll see if that's an option. If not, I will probably continue looking at like a refurbished step. But like I said, we'll order those kind of, and that shouldn't take long to get put together.
Okay, what about the songs? I'd like to update the songs that we've been playing for the last, I don't know, 5, 6 years. So if we could all, think of your favorite Christmas song that you'd like, played out in the park.
Yeah,
We could start from scratch.
they do require
So-
licensing, so turn them in and then we can check
Yes.
the license.
Also, when you say just playing, you want them synced to the singing Christmas tree synced to them, then I would look to see what's already pre-available and programmed to have all that done that they already. I mean, I don't think we have time at this point to start like new songs and then sync it all. You can buy them pre-purchased, so we can try to get you a list of what's available. Or if you look on Lighterama, they have some links for it, but we would really need to find them that are pre-synced. Otherwise, we could just play them, but they wouldn't be to the music.
What songs, do you have the list of songs
I don't have it here.
that are
no.
already programmed? Like, do you know what's already programmed? I mean, I have
I mean,
ones
I
I have
have it
videos
somewhere.
of.
Yeah, I just don't have it available here. We could get you the list.
Or do we look it up based on the software that we use?
Yeah, so anybody can make those. In the past, I think we've either gotten them from a company called Holiday Coro or Lighterama. I think there's a link off of there. But anybody anybody can make those. We just have to make sure that they fit and are programmed to the equipment we have.
You
Most
said
of them are.
Lighterama?
Lighterama.
Lighterama.
That's who makes the software.
No, that's.
They don't. We have to cover that. We do.
Which we already have the license and purchase, make sure. And I think last time only maybe one song we
Mhm.
produced, It doesn't matter.
I think, the city has an obligation. It's a different licensing thing, I believe. Like, we've looked into it in the past, and from our understanding, we have to pay those fees. And I think it's specifically for government. Like,
Because it's public, like you're providing it. Yeah, we did check into that. Correct.
that's our understanding. Like I said, it's been a long time since we've looked into it, but
Because of who it is, who the target audience.
If you find out something different, let us know. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mm. Well, I know, like, when we do movie in the park, we pay the licensing fee to show the movie. So even though the movie costs $10, you still pay $400 to be able to show it to the kids in the park. You got some help? Oh, Dana has a video of the singing light bulbs if anyone wants to see them. They're great. Yeah, they're great. See, she's like, I can tell you all the songs off the top of my head. Well, I will say that the Christmas songs are not nearly as bad as the 4th of July songs. We need to work on that.
This is just one. That's the singing light bulb.
So these little light bulbs, they're and there's big trees that whatever the different. So do we need to? We don't know if we need to buy any more. We're just gonna roll with what we have, right? Okay. And we bought some new stuff at the end of last year with that money that we had left over from not using it, correct? There was about $20,000 worth of stuff that got purchased.
You're talking about the displays. Yes.
Christmas displays, yeah.
There was a handful of displays bought last year. I think we went over a few meetings back, but you don't have that list, do you?
So what you want to know is the ones that are. What was the question?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I was saying that we have new stuff that we know won't be bad because we just purchased.
I've got a question about the decorations that we put on the poles on Westport Parkway. Didn't we get 2 stolen? Do we need to replace those, or did?
We did. Y'all replaced them.
Oh, we did.
next year, so 2 years.
Oh, okay. Did
And we have
something
the
else
bigger
happen
brackets.
last year? The bracket broke last
We got the
year?
bigger brackets now,
And we
right?
bought the new banding.
We just bought a banding machine,
Banding
so
machine.
they come with worm clamps. Those just don't have the wind load rating. You can use them, but the steel banded clamps we think will last longer and hold up. So as we put those up, we're gonna replace them, and we'll see how well we get those to last. I think they'll be fine.
So I'm sorry. What date are you're gonna do the 10th? You said the 9th. 9th, 10th, 11th. And then we can tentatively 17 and 18 for people that are available those days instead to kind of help finish it up.
And when you put those out, are you intending to wait till the lighting to turn any of that on, or y'all wanting to turn that on sooner? I'm always a fan of just waiting till the lighting, but typically they end up being turned on earlier, but it doesn't really matter to me. I'm just curious.
I think anytime after Thanksgiving is fine to light them up, but I don't know.
After Thanksgiving, not August.
I don't know, like y'all will be out for Thanksgiving the day after, right? So maybe like the Monday that y'all come back, we can light them that week of the tree lighting.
Yeah, we usually just try to squeeze it into that little time there before the beginning. It's tough, but also the longer it stays out, the more wear and tear. So you will have
The more kids climb on them.
There's only so much you can do to keep kids off of those.
All right. Anything else for decorations, Dana? Okay. Katrina?
No, ma'am.
All right. Nope.
One other thing, there's one singing tree that has not been recovered yet. And I need, if we need more rope light for that tree, how will I go about that?
You know if you have any?
There's some rope light left,
If, like, we
but I
need-
don't know. Since it's in storage, I don't remember how much
Yeah,
was
like I said,
left.
We haven't really looked through any of that yet, so we can try to get you an idea of how much supplies we have, but you're probably going to need more. I think we didn't have enough last year for it.
Okay.
And remember, they sold out of color.
Do we want a motion for a roll of just, is it green that we need? or do we-
Green's the most. It's
Like,
used
should
the
we just-
most.
It's like $500 for a roll, isn't it?
About 250.
2 rolls of green.
Just say 2 rolls.
So what we're talking about is those big Christmas trees that light up, and she restrings them all or re-ropes them all. And I think it was, I feel like it was $200 or $300 for one roll,
It's like 221.
221.
But
So
we had
maybe
to get
like-
them from different companies to get the colors.
So should we just say 450 for 2 rolls? If we can
Mhm.
get 2
Say
rolls?
5.
I think
Five.
so.
5. And then if you don't need them, we don't have to buy them. And if you get out there and you're like, oh no, I need them, you can buy the rolls, and
Right.
or Katrina
Okay.
can order the rolls.
Make a motion.
Yeah, go for it.
I make a motion that we spend up to $500 for rope lights for repair of the singing Christmas tree.
This Chuck, second?
All in favor? None opposed? Okay, before we get off Christmas, I just want to make sure we didn't vote or motion on any other children's activities. So do we want the rock tower or the jumpy bouncy thing? What's our budget at?
Still good.
We're still good, I think.
We talking about the bouncy, the six.
The bungee thing or the rock
I think that
climbing?
would be better for the kids.
The bungee one?
We're gonna do one of those two.
Okay. So does the bungee come with the attendance for that $1,500?
Yes.
Okay.
Make a motion, how much was it?
You're gonna need about 1,050.
1,500?
No, I think it's, can you pull that back up?
It's 900 plus
For the-
travel fee and
13.
oh, I thought we were looking at rock.
No.
So maybe 1,400?
Okay, make a motion to purchase the bungee trampoline rentals for $1,400 for Christmas in the park.
And the surge, I'll second.
All in favor? So they're probably gonna only do the 3 hours for that, so let's do 3 to 6. So that way when Santa comes, they can shut it down.
I think it's only 2 hours.
Well, it says price displayed is for 3 hours.
It does? Okay. thanks.
And we can put it in that same spot, or is that where the snow slides are going? Okay.
That is typically where the snow slide goes, so we'd have to find another large area that's very flat. But yeah, the snow slide would take that entire area.
Can the snow slides go past the tennis court?
You could, there's not a lot of lighting, so you would need
More like
extra
hours?
lighting back there. But one of those could, I mean, that,
The jumpy things seem to fit there, but I don't know that we could put them both there together.
and you'll need lighting there as well. So
Okay.
I think we should have we'll just have to plan on additional lighting for one or the other.
Okay. Anything else for Christmas? Are we good? All right. Easter egg hunt. Mark it on your calendar. It'll be March 23rd from 4 to 5 p.m. Too early to do anything for that. Memorial Day celebration takes place in the Memorial Garden on May 27th. We have a mostly tentative speaker so far. And then Fireworks Independent Day event will be sometime in end of June, July.
So we need to vote on a date, so we quote for the fireworks.
We need to vote on a date to get votes. Quote, what she said.
Do you have a
All right.
proposal thing?
What you got, James? Independence Day celebration for 2024. What date would you like?
So
July 4th is a
on
Thursday.
I mean, have we looked to see what we can do for, I mean, like, on the fireworks, like what their availability is?
We
No,
usually
we
give them
need
a couple
date
of dates and then they tell us the price and then we
Okay.
pick the cheapest price.
Their price changes that whole 10 days. So we have,
Okay.
and we've generally done Friday night. up to you.
I mean, I think that makes sense to me.
I'll
June
pick
20
two dates
June
and I'll get
28th?
two quotes, but
June 28th and July 1st, Monday? Would you do it on Monday?
Mm-mm.
No.
I might do it July 3rd because people will be off on the 4th.
pretty sure that's Roanoke date, but okay.
That's the most expensive.
Yeah, I know. Well, we can get a comparison of the 2 dates.
Okay.
And then we'll probably go for the 28th.
think I think our preference would be that Friday, but
28th.
The 28th.
yeah, I think so. I think as closer you get to the 4th, I think it's just exceptionally more expensive.
It's like double.
I would go for the 28th.
So motion to get a quote for,
The 28th and
June 28th, July 3rd.
July 3rd, yeah.
Even though we're probably going to go for June 20th.
It's Dana, I second the motion.
All in favor? None opposed? We don't have to reserve anything else right now, right?
Right.
Okay. Movie in the Park will be in September-ish. We've had multiple in the past. It seems to be a really good hit, but the weather is bad. And 1 July we had to cancel it, so we've just kind of stuck to that September. And I will say that the realtor company that sponsored us this year already reached out and wants to sponsor again for the next year. And they come out and bring some box candy. And so we usually pick that date based on when In-N-Out will come, because In-N-Out provides a service to the community that's free. So they bring the big In-N-Out truck and pass out burgers and chips and sodas. So we'll get closer to that, but we at least have a sponsor for it, so we can worry about the movie. And do we need to call In-N-Out now to ask them about the date?
let's wait till we get past this.
Okay. I just know some dates are harder than others, so I'm just making
I
sure.
still have National Night Out laying on my,
Okay. All right, and then National Night Out is always the first Tuesday of the year. Katrina pretty much does that all by herself. But mark your calendar to attend because we have a little table that we set up where we meet people like Kyle. Hazlet Hustle 5K and Fun Run is going to have to be tentative. It got canceled this year due to road construction. We hoping to bring it back next year, so we'll see. Yoga and Tai Chi are still going on. We have instructors for both of those, right? Yep. Any other projects or ideas anyone wants to add today? For future agenda items? No. We got a full plate. All right, so now we have action number 8A, which is to discuss, consider, and act on adding shade structures at the tennis court benches. So we have these wonderful tennis courts if y'all have never been out there, but it gets kind of hot. So Kitty, would you like to come up? So we have Kitty Wirt. Is your mic on there, Kitty?
I am Kitty Wirtz, and I live at 205 Thistle Drive, and I am the president of the HCEDC Type B Board, and that's the Hazlet Community and Economic Development Board. And one of our board's purposes is to make improvements, and we considered making an improvement to give the tennis players and pickleball players a shade when they're playing tennis in the 95 to 105 degree weather. So this is an action item to promote better quality of life and to benefit our citizens in general. So we want to propose funding a shade structure for the new tennis courts. And so it would be a process where we would have to go through different steps. There would have to be engineering, there would have to be a design, there'd have to be an approval, and so forth and so on. So what I'm asking this board to consider tonight is giving us a motion of approval to proceed. Right now, we don't have any details or answers because this is the first opportunity that we're beginning to talk about this project and move it forward. So again, I'm looking for approval from the Parks Board for my board to proceed.
I'd like to comment here for people that are new and maybe don't know. The tennis structures were partially funded by EDC, in the first place. So we kind of went to them and said, hey, can y'all help us? We don't quite have enough money to pay for these. And so they've already helped us get those done in the first place. But we kind of briefly chatted about it last meeting. We had a quick meeting last month, and those of us that were here, sorry you guys weren't there, but we kind of had already said, yes, hey, that sounds like a great idea. So we think it's great. But I'd like to open it up for discussion from the new guys and us again, if anyone thought of anything differently.
I don't know, does the city have any comments on that?
I'll say we don't have a measurable amount. There's lots of interest, and we typically see it well used, but we don't have any kind of metrics of how many people.
Right, and they're very new.
There was, and I don't know what happened to it. I tried to look it up to see, because I thought maybe we had it put in, and it maybe fell off, but I went back through what I had, and I couldn't find it. Was it you, James, that checked that and made sure that it wasn't omitted?
Yeah, as far as I know, that there was never any provisions for a cover, and I think there was always a concern because of lighting and the width of it. It's already pretty wide as it is, but we did check. There's roughly 6 feet of space that's in that center section that's outside of the field of play for both of them. But the picture there will show that the current bench location, there is a light pole in the dead center. So those are just the observations we saw for it. But as she said, really this is just a request for interest in it, and then after that there would have to be a plan and design and engineering to determine
if it's even possible.
if it's feasible and what that would look like, and then that would come back to this board for recommendation as well at a later date.
Just looking at that design, it might be even more beneficial to have 2 sets of benches on either side of that light pole with 2 structures. So we would be looking at, obviously, the most cost effective, and again, this will be fully funded by our board.
And I know in Richland Hills, so my daughter has played tennis, and Richland Hills does have a shade structure. Like a little goat shelter.
Now I can't think of it. Now I can't think of it like now that I'm trying. But North Richland Hills has a very similar setup. So probably just next time somebody's out there, snag a picture.
Can you see if you can pull up North
I was
Richland Hills
searching
on
for
the? I know I've seen it too, because I've seen those over there. But I mean, I think we kind of discussed it. We think it's fine to see if it's possible, because I think it would be great. And Serge, you're the tennis player up here, right? You were. Since it's open. So we have a user here on the board. Yes. And you're good with it. I'm not a tennis player myself, so you. That kind of like goes over
Is that
the
North
light.
Richland Hills?
And obviously, there's all kinds of designs that we
Sure.
can look at. I don't know that we really need to get into the weeds of exactly what it's going to look like tonight. I'm just looking for support from this board for us to take action and move forward.
Yeah, I think we would support it. We can make a motion. I'll motion that we support the progression of the investigation for shade covering of the benches. Second that? Yes.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor? Looks like you have our go. Thank you for that. We appreciate it. And thank you for being patient with us to get to your turn. All right, so any improvements that we need to know about, James, at any of the parks?
Besides at the fire station field, they have pretty much finished the chip seal. They still haven't completely gotten their equipment out. Dust is dissipating. That goes way with the rain, but they're for the most part finished with that. Like I said, there's no current improvements at this moment. We're going to be having several pieces of equipment demoed for some ball field maintenance items and working on the lips and the baselines. But besides that, there's nothing necessarily new at the parks or the fields.
Have we looked at any different water fountains yet? You know, I'm going to keep coming back to that.
We have not looked at replacement water fountains. We can get replacement parts. We really need to find a location first. So.
But I mean, you know, the water bottle
Yes.
fillers. Okay.
And they have those, and typically those are refrigerated, so we don't have a place that's just currently set up for that. But
Do
not
they
really.
make them non-refrigerated?
I don't know. Typically the ones I see are. That's
I feel like the airport ones are not. I don't know. Anyone remember? Anyone been to the airport lately and those little water bottle refillers? I don't think they're refrigerated. I don't know. Anyways, at any rate, the problem with the water fountains is that they get broken. They get broken and they get shut off. And one of the problems was that we have that volleyball court,
Yes.
and we've been talking about moving it somewhere else where it's farther away from there. But the reality is, kids still put sand into the water fountains, and then they break, and then we can't use them. And so my suggestion was to switch that water fountain out for the bottle refillers, which are most people have water bottles now because they're trying to conserve. So I thought that was a better option, and hope that people don't lift the sand up to that higher level. You know, with the dog bowl that's down there, you can stick your feet in there and clog it up. But at least if there was a water bottle one, it might deter people from breaking our water fountain, because a working water fountain that you have to bring your own water bottle for is better than no water fountain at all. So I've been asking if we were going to fix those, if we could just replace them with something different.
Sure, we can look at costs for that, and really, the drain is also the issue with it. That drain system is just no more. So we do need to find a location for it or restore the drain, but we can find that cost for all.
I have a question on the firehouse field, James. Have we started doing the maintenance?
So we have not done anything special there. I mean, we've restored most of the irrigation. There is lots of like the existing irrigation is inside of the baselines on several places, but the old baselines aren't in the original location. We're kind of looking at what's the best way to approach either moving that stuff in or if it's relocating irrigation. But our first and main goal is to get rid of some of the lips from just excess material. So that is a piece of rented equipment for like it's a baseball groomer, and then we're going to have that rented and come out. They're going to do training for that, and we're going to start there.
Has the HSA contract been finalized that you're aware of?
It has not. It's not. That is.
It's not been changed yet.
No. We are still under the same current contract. I believe David Rogers is working on a draft of a new one, but that is not completed.
Yes. So when I started on the Parks Board, I don't know, 5 years ago, there was a master plan that included like expanding that entire field. But it should have already been done by now based on the estimate. So I think they're talking about reworking that. Correct me if I'm wrong there, James.
So
It was
that
like
plan, I don't
baseball
believe.
fields and softball
yeah.
fields
There
and
was
tennis courts.
There was a plan that was a kind of a concept. I don't think they're.
Never any funding, right?
Yeah, I don't think there was funding for it. I don't think they're necessarily moving forward with that plan.
Right.
So there is a capital project to put in ADA ramps to kind of improve some of that compliance. And then there is a sewer line extension project that would potentially serve that area with sewer, and that'd be half the battle. And then with that, then you could put bathrooms. There is not a current project that is putting facilities down there. Fire station is off of septic. Yeah, so it would either have to be a septic system for that baseball field, or we would have to connect sewer. So the next nearest one is over off Maxwell Circle as it connects across Blue Mountain Road, and they're looking into that as a project going from there, which could feed would feed the fire station and open up the ability to feed that as well. Sure. Do you mean when you say that? What do you mean by park and rec? I guess like with this. So council typically would decide on that. I would assume it would come to this board, but I'm not sure how they'll address that. That's really city council, and we are.
So we're a recommending body as a parks board, so we make recommendations to council. And I actually spoke with the mayor last month, and I was asking him to make sure that we kind of at least give our opinion. And he said, yes, I'll make sure that I circle that back to y'all. But when it comes to contracts, we don't have anything to do with that. So so the mayor's elected, right? So the elected officials and then the city attorney, those guys do all of that. So honestly, for years, we've been asking them to revamp that HSA contract, and it just didn't really go anywhere. So we're kind of, I'm personally kind of happy that it's being revamped to be maintained consistently versus there was a high turnover of HSA leaders, and one guy would come in and say, I'm going to do it. And then the next year he was gone, and then people would get, and then people would get mad at me. And I'm like, your guy came and told me this, and I've got I've got all the notes if anybody wants to see those too. So I think it's going to be good when we get it moving. But to answer your question, it's more of like the city structured as far as those contracts. And like we even talked about suggesting that they have a rental agreement to like rent pavilions in the park, but we only make the recommendation to council, and then council makes that decision. And so all of the council members kind of decide if that proceeds and goes forward. So
yeah, the direction we've been given is that the city will the intent is the city will take back maintenance. In the past, the maintenance has fallen to the sports association, and that's the direction is we're going to try to make those more city maintained. So that's the current direction, and however that contract falls together, that'll be at the direction of the mayor and city council.
So we can come up with an idea, and we've got some allies over here in our audience that, can help us get some of that, things pushed through, because EDCB, if I'm not wrong, Kitty has money that they can help, if we ever needed, say, hey, we've got this project, this is something that we think is important for the community, but Parks Board doesn't have enough money to cover it. Is this something that y'all could go 50-50 with us? Or is this something that your board would like to fund? So we kind of, can go back and forth as well and see if there's anything else, but. But if we don't have sewer access, that's a whole nother.
Yes, that is an option. Now, sewer is the intention. Septic does take up a large percentage of land. For that quantity of people, you would have to have a pretty large field to cover that, and you couldn't, utilize that for other stuff. It's
That's great. I think bathrooms would be wonderful.
The county will not stripe. That's not something that they'll do. Like, it's just that county offers us so many things. They will not stripe parking lots. So striping is our plan to go with some, we usually will tie it into striping for some city parking lots and fire lanes. So we're going to try to put a project together for all of that. So the Joe Boards, he's requested that they go, I guess north and south was what he recommended. Yeah. Yeah, we currently had requests for no parking signs and striping, so we're gonna try to get those to keep people off the grass areas and into the parking lot. And then they'll look at the layout, and really it's what will fit the most and the safest. That's what they'll do, but they will take that into consideration, that that's the intent, to have it that direction.
James, I remember we had a couple years ago or months ago, we were talking about making the gate wheelchair accessible because they couldn't get in. Has that been fixed?
Basically, when they repaired some of the fence, they left an ADA gap, and when they make the sidewalk from the paved area, like a parking lot, onto that path, it'll be accessible while wheelchair. So
But it's not ready yet.
No, that is money was approved for October 1st, so that is a capital project.
Oh, okay.
And I think the other one is a carryover from last year. Was we're looking at trying to get some sort of like heat and something to kind of just keep the air exchange in those bathrooms, but mainly so we can keep the bathrooms open during the winter months. So we're going to try to have that, and that's also one of the delays on that was because that was all the parks.
The bathrooms at Firehouse or the bathrooms
No,
just
not-
everywhere?
Fire station is just porta potties. That's all.
Oh,
that's
okay. I was like, how
available.
are they keeping that? Okay.
I'm saying that's just another thing at the other field is something
At
to keep those
Nance
to keep those bathrooms open. Because usually during the winter those have to be shut down because they will freeze.
Any other park things? No other?
No.
Okay. All right. And then Veterans Memorial Garden, any future agenda items anyone would like to see on the next agenda? Well, there you go. We will adjourn at 8:18. Yeah. Oh, no, I haven't. Maybe Katrina can. Oh, yes. I have a sheet. I don't, because these are all new guys. Hey, will y'all add your names and things?